Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Amy and I'll be your instructor for today's yoga practice. In our practice today, we're going to build on the foundations of an introductory Vinyasa practice. So if you've ever wanted to master Vinyasa or get really practiced and skilled at what Vinyasa flow looks like, this is a great introductory series for you to learn all of the different modifications that are possible to help make it accessible to move through that flow with a little bit more ease. So all you need to do is grab a mat and give yourself some room to move around, clear some space to move. I also have some yoga blocks here. I'll be showing some variations for some of our poses that you can modify with blocks to help make that more accessible. So go ahead and set yourself up, get whatever you need to get started, and then we'll begin our practice. Let's begin with some deep breathing. Taking some nice deep breaths in through the nose. Exhale out all the way. Drawing into your heels, down into the mat. Crown of the head nice and tall. Take another deep breath in. Exhale. Take a deep breath in. Lift your hands above your head. Exhale, hands through your chest. Deep breath in. Exhale. One more time, deep breath in. Exhale. Turning to face the short edge of your mat. Standing nice and tall, draw your shoulders back. Level the weight between both feet. Deep breath again. Inhale, lift your hands up. Exhale, fold through. Deep breath in, hands lift up. This time hinging from your hips, fold forward. Stay here in that forward fold. Plug your feet into the ground. Lengthen the back of the legs, maybe even grabbing the arms. So if that feels good to you, to release your hands from the floor. Let your head hang heavy. Soft bend in the knees can be a nice way to take some pressure off. So if that's too tight through your hamstrings or straining your back, bend your knees a little. As you increase in flexibility, you can lengthen the legs, or you can always leave a bend as you fold forward. Take one more breath here. Exhale, empty out. Release your hands. Inhale, stand tall. Exhale, fold forward, hinging from the hips. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, come through. One more time like that. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, hinge at your hips, fold through. This time, inhale, halfway lift. Fingertips to your shins. Reach the crown of your head forward so you have a 90-degree angle with your upper body and your legs. Take one breath here. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Stand up nice and tall. Exhale, fold. One more time with a half lift. Hands come down, step back to a high plank. Finding a high plank, your shoulders are over your wrists. Now you can take a plank from the knees, shorten that lever, and make that plank more accessible if this is new for you. If that high plank feels good from the knees, go ahead, stay up on the toes, take a deep breath. Exhale, lower your knees to the floor, lower your chest all the way down to the floor. Point your toes, lift your sternum, little cobra. Exhale, come down. Bend back onto your knees. Tuck your toes, downward dog. Staying here in this first downward dog. Pedal out through your feet. And in downward dog, see if you can bring your heels to disappear behind your toes. Press into your fingertips. Reach your chest towards your thigh and draw your heels towards the ground. Deep breath in, come up on your tiptoes. Exhale, set your heels down towards the ground. Soften your shoulders. Look forward towards your thumb. Exhale all the air from your lungs. Step forward. Inhale, half lift, lengthen up. Exhale, fold from your hips. Inhale, lift up, fill up. Exhale, hinge forward, fold forward. Inhale, lift. Exhale, step back to that high plank from knees or from toes. Knees or toes now lower down all the way. Inhale, here's a cobra. Lift your chest. Exhale, lower. Press back to knees and then downward dog. Deep breath here. Exhale, empty. Step your feet forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale as you stand nice and tall. Looking for some new options this time. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift, reach the crown of your head. Exhale, step back to that high plank. Now you can choose to go to your knees as we did before, or from your toes. Deep breath in. Exhale, lower all the way from your toes. That's an option. You are welcome to go back to the knees. Point your toes. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. From the knees or the toes, press back to downward dog. Deep breath in. Exhale, empty. Step forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Lift up, reach up. Hinge at your hips, fold forward. One more time. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step back, high plank. From the knees or the toes, lower down. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, tuck your toes from knees or toes. Push back, downward dog. Deep breath. Exhale, empty. Taking another full breath cycle here. Exhale. Step your foot forward. Inhale, half lift to a fold. Inhale, stand tall. Hands down to your heart center. Press your palms together. Reach your head nice and tall towards the ceiling. Take a full breath here. Exhale. That's our Sun Salutation A, and what we use often to transition between postures. Let's add on. Here we go. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, reset. Deep breath in. Hands come above your head. Exhale, hinge at your hips, fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step back. High plank from your knees or your toes, lower all the way down. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, lower. Tuck your toes from your knees or your toes, press back. Downward dog. Deep breath in. Exhale. And then lift your right heel all the way towards the ceiling. Try and create some length between the crown of your head and the heel of your foot. Now bend your knee and then open that knee up towards the ceiling and keep your shoulders nice and level. Feel that nice opening through your hip. Bring that knee lower towards your mat. Reach out your foot, extend the leg, lower down, down dog. Inhale, Left heel rises. Lengthen from the head to the heel. Bend your knee and turn that kneecap towards the ceiling without opening up the shoulders. Plug into your fingertips. Feel every fingertip on the mat. One more full breath cycle. Exhale. Knee points towards the mat. Extend your leg. Lower your foot down to the mat. Pedal out your knees. Nicely done. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, empty. Step your feet towards your hands. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep your fingertips and lower your hips. Chair pose. Bring your big toes toward each other and leave your heels wider. Now tuck your tailbone down towards the ground so you have a nice long upper body and fire up through your quads. Now if you're feeling pinching through your shoulders, a good option for arms, there's two options here. You can take cactus arms, just nice and wide, or you can bring your hands right into your chest. Play with those arm variations. You want to feel challenged, but not in any pain. All right, take one more breath here in any of those options. Exhale, fold forward. Walk your feet about 2 fist widths apart in that forward fold. And we're just gonna hang out here in this fold. If this fold feels too deep, remember, you can bend your knees a little. You can also use the blocks as a little support, if that's a supported fold that feels better for you. You're moving towards lowering the crown of your head towards the ground. Take one more deep breath here. Exhale, empty all the way out. Walk your toes back toward each other. Leave your heels a little wider. Bend your knees deep. Sweep your fingertips. Chair pose. Now you can choose again which position feels better for you. Your arms can be open. They can be centered. Tuck your tailbone. See if you've got any more depth through your legs. Plug in through your legs. Plug in through your core. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, fold forward. Walk your feet back to that 2 fist widths. Forward fold, bend the knees as you need. This time, take your peace fingers, wrap them around your big toe, and use that leverage to fold a little deeper. Now, if that doesn't work for you to grab your toes, take your hands right behind your shins, to the back of your calves, and see if you can get some traction that way. Melting your forehead towards your shins, pressing evenly into both feet. Relax your neck. Take one more full breath in. Exhale. Release your hands. Deep breath, lift. Rise up. Exhale, let's take a sun salutation. Fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step back, high plank from the knees or the toes. I'll demonstrate knees. Lower down all the way. Cobra, lift your chest. Exhale, tuck in from your knees or your toes. Press to downward dog. Take 2 full breaths here. Fill up the lungs. And right down to your belly. One more time. Step your feet forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift up, rise up. Exhale, hands to your heart center. Great work. Staying here nice and balanced. Moving on to another standing posture. Plug into your left foot. take your right foot, take a big step back behind you. Find your balance, lift way up on the back toes, and then sink your knee in the front. You're lengthening through that back leg. Option for crescent lunge. You can reach your hands straight up over the shoulders. Or maybe it works better for you to have your hands at your chest. Decide where you want to be. Stay there. Now we're going to move through some options. Staying here, if you need to, if that back leg is starting to fatigue, you can take it down to the mat and work here in this position. If you're staying lifted, same thing, but peel that kneecap back and away from the mat. Option 1, take your right hand over the left knee and the left hand to the tailbone to start that twist. Twisting and rotating through your spine. Now you can stay here, or if you're quite mobile through this position, take your palms together and take the right elbow over the left knee to find that twist. Fire up your legs. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Unwind. Take your hands down to the mat. Step your front foot all the way back into a downward dog. Exhale, reset. Step both feet forward. Half lift. Forward fold. Inhale, lift up, rise up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Taking the left leg back this time. Step back behind you. Find your balance. And then decide on your foot variation. Lower into that lunge. Keeping the back knee lifted. Or if you need to, set that knee down. Continuing to open up through those hip flexors. Maybe your hands lift above your ear. Choose the option that works for you. You can still see that big toe in front of your bent knee. Soften your shoulders. Fire up that back leg. Hands to your heart if they're not there already. Left hand over the right leg. Right hand behind to the tailbone. Turn for that twist. And if you lose your balance, that's okay. That just means you get an opportunity to step back in and start again. Hands come back to the front. You can stay in that twist or take the elbow over the knee. Fire up through your legs. Center of your chest meets at your thumb for that twist. Rinsing out through all those internal organs in this nice twist. Come back to center. Take both hands down and then step back into that downward dog. Let's pedal out through the knees. Deep breath in, come up on the toes. Exhale, lower your heels. Step forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stand up, stand tall. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, high plank. You know this part now from the knees or the toes. Lower all the way down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Tuck your toes from the knees or the toes. Press back, downward dog. Deep breath in. Exhale, empty. Take your right foot. Step it between the hands. Now you can stay here. You may find that's a little bit too low. This is a great opportunity to look at the blocks. Coming up onto the blocks in low lunge can help with that accessibility and keeping that leg and that spine nice and long. You can even adjust the blocks to their highest position. Right? They're just there to help you find accessibility into a new posture, maybe a little lower than you can go without the blocks. Just like before, the option is to lower the knees if you need a little bit less. Now from whatever position you're using the blocks or right down on the floor, take the outside hand, lift it up. Option to take away a little of that intensity in the shoulder is to bend the arms, reaching for your tailbone. One more breath here. Exhale, lower that hand down, switch sides. Inside hand now lifts up, opens up, or take that hand to the tailbone. Remember that you always have the option of doing this exact same thing from the knee in either of those arm variations. Make it work for you. Let your breath flow easy. From wherever you are right now, take one more breath. Bring your hands back down. Set the blocks to the side and then wiggle however you need to. You can come to knees first, or you can step all the way back to downward dog. Make those transitions work for you. Anytime you need to set a knee down, go for it. If you need to bend the knees, that's always an option. Okay. Deep breath in. Exhale, empty. Let's take that low lunge on the other side. Left foot steps forward. And then decide again, do you need blocks? Does it feel better to adjust the height? Is it good for you down low? What are the options that are working for you right now? Including the option to drop that back knee. Thinking of keeping your spine nice and long. If your knee is lifted, keep working to lift that knee as far away from the mat as you can. Outside arm lifts up for that twist. Staying here or wrapping the hand around for the tailbone if that feels better. Now, if this is new for you, you may find looking at the ground is the easiest to keep your balance. As you get comfortable here, see if you can lift your gaze towards your thumb. Hands come down. Adjust your position on the blocks or the mat if you need. Inside hand lifts up. Again, the option to take your hand back behind you or to stay lifted. Knee is up or maybe down. Lots of options, lots of choices. Make this practice your own. One more breath. Bring that hand down. Move the blocks from the feet or from your knees. Step back to downward dog. Pedal out through your feet. Deep breath in. Exhale, empty your lungs, look forward, step forward. Inhale, half lift. Empty and fold. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, bring your hands down to your heart center. Nicely done. Turn to the side and take a great big step wide across your mat. Turn your right foot towards the one side and bend that knee. Open up your arms. Warrior two. So your toes are pointed towards the short end of the mat on your bent knee. And they're lengthwise even with the back of your mat on your back foot. Explore the depth. So you can inch your foot out. If you can dip lower, you want to maintain that 90 degrees in your front knee. Set your gaze right over your front fingers. Extended side angle. Take that front arm, bring it down onto your thigh, and lift the other hand way up. Straight up. Option 1 is to stay right here, keeping that deep bend in the knee. Option 2 would be to take one of those blocks. See if you can sink down a little. Find some depth. Again, you want to find the depth that's challenging you, but not the depth that hurts. You can play around with the blocks, or if it works for you, you can take your hand right down. One more breath. Staying connected, both feet to the mat. Lift up, come into standing. Straighten your legs. Turn all the toes to the long edge of your mat and take your hands around to your low back. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, wide leg forward fold. Let the crown of the head melt its way to the mat. And just like you did before, you can bring your hands down to the mat, or if that's a little too far and it's better for you to use a block, because you can get part of the way down and that feels good, you can of course adjust the mat or the block to any height that you need. Deep breath in. Exhale. Now bring those hands back around for the tailbone. Lengthen your spine. Draw into your core and stand all the way up nice and tall. Nicely done. Okay, taking it to the other side, take those toes, shift the side to the short edge of the mat, bend your knee deep, finding warrior 2 on the other side. Reach your fingertips and set your gaze over your front fingers. Looking again for that bend at the knee, where you can still see that big toe peeking out in front of the knee. Bending the arm, resting it on your leg, reaching your hand up. Extended side angle, drawing that top shoulder back. Create some space to move. Now, just like before, as you lower into that next option, you can grab a mat or a block rather handy and find a little more depth by moving your hand off the thigh and onto a block. Every few breaths, is there another adjustment that works on the block? If you've reached where you need to stay, embrace that. Take some deep breaths. Sink into that. Take one more breath here. Good job. Plug into your feet, lift back up. Straighten your leg. All 10 toes to the front again. Bring your palms around for your tailbone. Look up, lift up. Exhale, fold forward, feeling your feet connected to the mat, even on the outside edges of your feet. Options, of course, to soften your knees. Bring your hands to the mat, or bring your hands onto a block. 2 more breaths here. One more breath. Bring your hands back to your tailbone. Look just in front of your mat. Lengthen your spine. Draw into your core. Stand all the way up. Nicely done. Step your feet into the center of your mat. Shake out your legs. Standing tall. Take your right foot. Bring it up just as high as you need. Maybe that looks like it's calf height. Maybe it works for you to grab your foot and find somewhere above your knee Wherever it works for you, press both palms into each other and press your thigh into your foot and your foot into your thigh. That's it. Try and find stillness. Standing tall in tree pose. 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. Embrace that wobble. Complete that breath. Exhale, beautiful. Slowly lower that foot. With control, set it down on the floor. Pedal out your feet. And find some grounding through the other foot. Lift the heel. And then maybe find the calf. That's an option. Sometimes that's lots of a balance challenge right there, just embracing that. If you want a little more and you can bring that foot up, maybe your pants are as slippery as mine today. Finding that balance, centering in your breath, and then pressing into midline. Your foot can be anywhere along that leg, so long as it's not right on your knee, above or below the knee. Take 1 more breath. And with control, lower that foot. Set it down to the floor. Pedal out your feet. Nice work. Coming back to the top of your mat. Just clearing the block from your way. Find some grounding. Hands to your chest. Come into your breath. 3 breaths. 2 more. Can you bring that breath right down to your belly? Draw your shoulders back. 1 more inhale. Exhale. This time as you breathe in, Sun Salutation A. Lift up. Hinge from your hips. Fold forward. Inhale, half lift, lengthen. Exhale, step back, high plank from your knees or your toes. Lower all the way down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, tuck your toes from knees or toes. Press back, downward dog. And now just walk your feet towards your hands. Bend your knees as much as you need to as you walk your feet forward. And when they reach your hands, bend your knees, lift your heels, roll back down onto your back. Clearing the blocks, stacking your feet right underneath your knees. Press into your feet and send your hips all the way up. Your legs stay straight. Sometimes the knees want to tip in toward each other. Keeping them nice and steady, nice and straight. As you press into your feet, find that lifts your chest a little closer to your chin. Take 1 more breath. Exhale. Lower your hips down. Take a full breath here. Let's take 1 more set, just like that. Press into your feet, send your hips up towards the ceiling. Maybe even interlacing your hands under your hips. If that works for you, try and walk your shoulders a little more underneath you, creating a bit of a shelf, a bit of a support. And then send your hips as high as you can. Take 1 more full breath here. Exhale, lower. Set your hips down. Bring your knees in towards your chest. Give your shins a hug. Spine is long along the mat. Bring your feet down to the mat. Nicely done. Roll over onto your front. Bring your belly down towards the mat. Bring your hands along the side behind you. Reach your fingertips down towards your heels. Bring the center of your forehead right to the mat. And then look up, lift up, peel your chest up off the mat. Hover your hands above the ground, with the option of lifting your feet. Take one more breath here. Exhale, lower down. Bring one ear to the mat and just release. Let the shoulders open up. Find relax, find release. And now set up for a second set. Bring your forehead to the mat, flip your palms over, facing the ground, reach behind you, peel your head and your chest up off the mat. And if you can lift your feet, go ahead, lift your feet. Inhales lift you up a little higher, engaging all the way down your back. Exhales, release a little. One more breath. Exhale, come all the way down, tops of the palms down. The other ear comes to the mat, release. Bring your chin forward. Hands come around in front. And then just press into your fingertips, enough to bring your elbows right underneath your shoulders. Spread your fingers nice and wide and draw your shoulders back. Take a few nice deep breaths. Again, imagine that the breath is traveling in through your nose, through your lungs, and filling up your belly. Now maybe it feels really good to stay right here. Continue with this breath. I'll show you some options. Know that this is always an alternative to stay right here. If you'd like to transition and you'd like to move into upward dog, bring your hands back under your shoulders, press into your fingertips, start with knees on the mat and bent elbows. So they're not totally straight, they're bent, knees down. Shoulders drawn back. If you can press into the tops of your feet and lift your kneecaps up off the mat, then straighten your arms. They're not locked, but they're straight. Lifting proudly through your chest. And if that doesn't feel good on your back, remember you can set the knees down, you can soften the elbows, or you can come right back down onto the elbows if that's a better alternative for you. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, one more breath. Exhale, lower your knees. From wherever you are, come into tabletop. On hands and knees, let's take a few breaths, cat and cow. Inhale, round your back. Look between your toes at the mat behind you. Inhale, take your tailbone and the crown of your head, lift them towards the ceiling. Exhale, round. Inhale, tailbone and crown of the head, lift to the ceiling. Now let's find neutral spine. Tuck your toes, press back, downward dog. Last downward dog of our practice. Take a deep breath in, press into your fingertips. See if you've got just a little more depth. Second time, we're gonna walk our feet through. Bring your feet towards your hands, bend your knees as much as you need to. Lift your heels, sit your hips back, and roll down onto your back. Nicely done. Let's take both feet up towards the ceiling. Flex your feet and extend your legs. Now, if a bend in your legs feels better for you, that's okay. Bring your legs as straight as you can. You can leave your shoulders right down on the mat, or you can engage your core and reach towards the back wall, lifting your shoulder blades off the mat. Take one foot, lower down a third of the way. Take it down another third. An alternative to make that a little easier would be to bend the knee slightly, or to use the top foot as a base of support on the ground. Take that down just to a hover, just over the ground. Rest your head back, lift your foot up. Take a breath here. Setting up on the other side, reach your hands. If you did on the other side, try lifting the shoulder blades, flex your feet. Take the other foot down a third of the way. Take it down another third and decide, do you keep your legs right where they are? Does the other foot need to adjust? Remember those options, they're always there for you. Take it down to a hover just above the ground. Lift that foot all the way back up, rest your shoulder blades back. We have two more. Your option will be to take one leg again or to try with both. Reach your arms, engage your core, take your feet down a third of the way. Now remember, you can easily go back to just one leg at a time, or you can stay challenged with both so long as you can continue to breathe and your back is nice and long along that mat. Another third. One or both feet, maybe add a bend in the knees if you need. Or take it down. 2, 1, lift all the way up, shoulders back. If you were doing one leg, switch legs. If you were doing both, decide if you need a bend in the knees or if you're extending fully again. Set up to begin. Lower down a third of the way. One more time, a third of the way. And again, just to a hover. Keep breathing, don't hold your breath. Lift all the way up. Lower your shoulders and your head. Tuck your knees into your chest. We are almost there. Release your knees, grab your hamstrings, and just start a gentle roll along your spine. Maybe getting a little bit more of a roll. Keep your head nice and centered, nice and straight. And the next time you roll, use your hamstrings to pull yourself all the way up to seated. Very nicely done. Sitting up tall. Reach your hands out by your kneecaps, draw your shoulders back. With a long spine, start to lean back, preparing for boat. Lots of options along the way, as always. Keep your chest lifted. Maybe you can lift one leg off the ground. Switch legs. Now you can continue here, alternating your leg lifts, or maybe you can take both legs up. The last option being to straighten your legs. One more breath. Exhale, heels come down, sit all the way up tall, deep breath in. Our last boat, you can choose any of those options. Set yourself up into that V-sit boat position. Draw into your core, lengthen that spine, lift your sternum, and then take your best variation of boat in any of those options for 3 breaths. One more. Nicely done. Bend your knees, heels come down, sit up tall. Great work. Rolling back down onto your spine. Take the soles of your feet, bring them toward each other. One hand on your belly, one hand on your chest as your knees drop open. Taking a few breaths here. Just tracking the flow of that breath through your body. Feeling your hand on the chest and the belly both rise as your breath fills both cavities. Bring your knees up, bring them to meet. Take your arms and reach them straight out from your shoulders. Tip both knees bent towards one side. If your knees come down to the side with both shoulder blades on the ground, fantastic. If it feels better to use a block, you can use a block to rest those knees on the bottom of the twist so that it's not quite so deep. Take your head the opposite direction of the knees. Releasing into this twist. Bring the knees up in the center. Bring your head center, and then drop your knees the other direction. All the way down, or just like you did, taking the block under the knees if that feels better to you. Reach your arms out, take your gaze in the opposite direction of your knees. Take one more breath here. Bring your knees center. Level your head center. Take your feet, reach them out, toes to the outside. Turn your palm upward. Then just adjust yourself so you can rest on your shoulder blades, finding a comfortable position. Close your eyes down, and this is our final Shavasana. And take some nice deep breaths here in our finding rest over pose. If you have a little longer today to stay in Shavasana, I welcome you to stay here in this resting position for as long as you'd like. If you're moving on with your day, wiggling fingers and toes, take a pencil stretch with fingertips above your head, toes pointed. Release. Roll to one side to ease your way up to seated. Take a breath. And then using one hand, ease yourself up to seated. Coming into comfortable seated position. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you found some variations today that will help you feel more confident in your yoga flow. See you again soon.